Your long day is almost over. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Well, business students, you really didn't have much of a choice, but thank you for not leaving. We are the consulting team for Tukwila Treats. This is Austin Marsh. This is Wendi Tokuuke. I think I got that right, 50-50 every time though. And that's Beau Glitschka. I myself am Joey McCabe. Tukwila. It's an interesting name, isn't it? When I first read it, I didn't even know how to properly pronounce it. But turns out it's the Native American term for hazelnuts. Thompson Farms is the sole supplier of hazelnuts for Tukwila Treats, and that is known for being an area that Native Americans have passed through. From time to time, they'll even find arrowheads made of obsidian in the hazelnut orchards. Oh, shoot. Thompson Farms is a local farm here in Salem. And it's been around for over 100 years now, but it wasn't until 2009 that they decided to diversify their assets and start growing hazelnuts. This isn't unusual for an Oregon farm, with Oregon producing 99% of the U.S. hazelnut crop each year. The idea of Tukwila Treats seemed to fall perfectly in our client's lap. With business connections to Thompson Farms through her husband, it just seemed silly to her not to look into it more. And with her always dreaming of wanting to start a business, it seemed perfect. And her, a former Corban accounting grad, and her on this very stage just a few years ago, she had all the tools to make this idea happen. The funny thing about her, though, being an accounting grad, is she really doesn't care too much about the numbers. If it's viable, that's what she wants, but her biggest concern is making a difference in the community. And that speaks a lot of volume about her character. It's less about the financials and more about how she can make a difference in the world for Jesus Christ. So this is where we come in to see if this business is viable. It's a startup business, and we were tasked with creating a business plan. We were also tasked on seeing how we can turn this little hazelnut, oh my gosh, this little hazelnut into $500,000. Was that my fault? Okay, cool. Well, thank you. Well, at this time, we will pass some hazelnut treats out to you guys to try. Levitt, you're finally going to get your treats today. The product is hazelnut treats. They come in different varieties. There'll be dry roasted hazelnuts with salt, milk chocolate covered hazelnuts, and dark chocolate covered hazelnuts with sea salt, and those are the ones that we've just handed out to you. They'll come in different sizes. They'll be in 4-ounce, 8-ounce, and 1-pound bag, and an 8-ounce bag of dry roasted hazelnuts will cost you about $7.50, and an 8-ounce bag of the ones you're sampling right now, the dark chocolate covered hazelnuts with sea salt, will cost about $8.50. I'm going to hand off the mic to Austin Marsh to say what will separate Tukwila Treats from the competition.
Thank you, Joey. So we came with a plan that our client wanted to be different from everyone else, and she wanted to help support. Her goal was to be different, and her connection with Young Life is that. She saw a goal to help the kids that are there, to help their lives and give them the opportunity to grow with skills in the workplace. We saw the customer service and business opportunities to help them learn these goals, as well as the Young Life name. It helps get the name out there of Tukwila Treats. This is a national brand, Young Life is, across the country. So them partnering with Tukwila Treats will help spread the name of Tukwila throughout the Oregon, Salem, Portland area. And with that, we go into the brand recognition and how Tukwila would separate themselves. We didn't have any sort of logo or anything, so the first thing we had to do was, how are people going to recognize this name? We came up with this logo. We put an arrow in replacement of the eye because of the relationship to the Native Americans, and the arrowheads found throughout the orchards where hazelnuts are grown. With this, the employees that will be working there at the farmers and Saturday markets will be wearing maroon shirts with this in black lettering, and the arrow will be white. And a tool that we decided to use is the growth of stickers that are on the water bottles and computers and phones of today to be a cheap, reliable way to get people just seeing the logo of Tukwila Treats throughout. There's going to be two different stickers, an arrowhead, and then the arrow itself that is a longer, narrower sticker. And this is just word of mouth, people asking about it and get people talking about the company throughout the Salem area. Next, to really separate ourselves, was the packaging. And this is what we came up with, was a rustic, brown-looking bag, completely different from anyone else that we saw. We went to different places such as Easy Orchards and Willamette Valley Pie Companies, and every bag of hazelnuts was in a transparent bag that you could see the entire product, and they all looked the exact same with gold stickers with the name of the company and what was in the ingredients, and that was it. This is completely different. It's got the logo Tukwila will be on the top with a 2-inch wide by 2-inch tall see-through oval, so you can still see what you're buying and see the product inside. And on the back will be a story about the Tukwila and why it is named that, and the connection with the Salem area and the orchard that is produced from. And finally, we wanted to make a target market and help our client figure out who she's selling to. Anyways, we came up with 2 surveys. The first one is more focused on the just the clients in general in the hazelnut area, and figuring out why people purchase these products, such as questions like, do you purchase it, more likely to purchase it in the holiday months, non-holiday months, questions like that. And then the second survey will be more focused on the people that come up to the booth at the Saturday and farmers markets, answering questions, what attracted you to the booth and things like that. And now here's Wendi with the recommendation.
Thank you, Austin. Okay, we're gonna see if this, okay, it's not gonna go. Thank you, Austin. Now, in order for us to give Tukwila Treats recommendations, thanks. In order for us to give them recommendations, we first needed to develop an operational plan. I think it's working now. Operational plan, and this involves a 3-phase plan for Tukwila Treats. The first plan is to focus mainly on discovering a target market for Tukwila Treats as a startup business. And this Saturday market is going to look directly into the Salem and Portland Saturday markets, as they are in a great place for Tukwila Treats to enter the market. Namely, Salem Saturday Market has a couple benefits that we really thought would be beneficial. Namely, they support local handmade products. However, they also will provide a solid customer base for Tukwila Treats to be able to enter the market within the community. And Portland has a very popular connotation with them, as they are one of the top tourist attractions in Portland. Furthermore, Thompson Farms, as stated earlier, will be the sole supplier of Tukwila Treats, as in the previous 2016 growing season, they were able to produce 75,000 pounds of hazelnuts, and they are projected in this 2017 growing season to produce 110,000 hazelnuts. So they have more than enough capacity to be able to supply Tukwila Treats at this phase. Furthermore, they will also be produced in a domestic kitchen. And this domestic kitchen is at the owner's residence, and this is mainly because of the amount of hazelnuts that will need to be produced in order for them to make profit at this stage, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And yes, on phase 2, we'll be looking into expanding to different markets. And this expansion will mainly look into after the first year of being in the Saturday and Portland markets, if Tukwila Treats feels they're confident and the demand increases for Tukwila Treats. So in phase 2, we're gonna add Hillsborough, Beaverton, and Vancouver farmers markets, and these were mainly chosen because they were able to give Tukwila Treats a broader area for the market for them to get into. They will need to hire additional employees. We gave them a minimum of recommended 2 employees per location, as this will benefit them in order for them to have enough people to produce the hazelnuts, as well as to man each booth. And if the expansion into these 5 markets throughout the Pacific Northwest will be beneficial to them, and they find increased demand, and they will need to move into the retail industry. And this retail industry will look mainly at locally placed retailers, such as Easy Orchards, Willamette Valley Pie Company, and Trader Joe's. These were just a few locations that we looked into when we recommended locations for them. They will need to move into a commercial kitchen because of the increased production that they will need for these retailers, and with that, purchase new equipment, because with the new equipment, they'll be able to produce at roughly 2,800 pounds weekly for them to be able to sell to these retailers. And with all of these phases, it is very transitional and very dependent on the market at that time. As a startup business, we just wanted to provide them with a set of options for them to look into as they're entering the market. And now Beau is going to come up and talk about some financials to support these recommendations.
Let's talk about some financials. Our argument is that our client should aim to sell 65 8-ounce bags at each market, the Salem and Portland Saturday market. As stated before, these bags will be 25 8-ounce bags of dark chocolate, 25 bags of milk chocolate, and 15 bags of dry roasted hazelnuts. Our client has a current capacity to create 300 pounds of product per week, and so they would have to produce 65 pounds of product for these two markets. In 1 week, net income from the Salem and Portland Saturday markets would be $340. Despite the wide margin between revenue and cost of goods sold, this is a low amount because we have a lot of expenses. As you can see here, our highest expenses are salaries, because we have built in for our client to have at least 2 employees per market stand. We have built in gas costs mainly for the benefit of the Portland Saturday market, since it is the farthest away. And we've also built in fixed booth fees. Looking at a 4-year projection of 10% growth in sales per year, we can see that the first year they would make $10,000 net income. This is from a 30-week Saturday market season at both markets. Let's look at sales and expense growth. Here we can see that the first year they would have $32,000 in sales with $21,000 in expenses. Fortunately, we don't predict that we'll have a lot of growth in fixed costs, with most of our cost growth being in cost of goods sold. If our client was to expand into the other 3 Saturday markets we recommend, which is the Beaverton, Vancouver, and Hillsborough Saturday markets, they would have to produce 325 bags per week. For our client, this would be 162 pounds of product, still well within our client's current capacity for production. Year 1, they would make $23,000. Compared to the first year of just the Portland and Salem Saturday markets, this is double the amount of net income. Looking into sales and expense growth, through this, they would be making $80,000 in sales the first year. I will now hand the mic off to Joey for our final recommendation.
Thank you, Beau. With our final recommendations, we see Tukwila Treats hitting that $500,000 mark in just 1 year. But during that 1 year, it would have to be in phase 3. And in phase 3, they'd be selling to retailers. And during that phase, they'll be able to produce 8,220 nuts a week, pounds of nuts a week. And that's a lot of nuts to sell to retailers. So we highly suggest that they focus on phase 1 and phase 2 of the project, of selling it directly through Salem Saturday markets and other Saturday markets, and also farmers markets. We see the viability of Tukwila Treats as a business and think it has great potential. And after just 1 year of selling their product, I think this will be able to be confirmed. At this time, I'd like to thank our client, Leanne Smith, Jay Thompson of Thompson Farms, and for working with them this semester. I'd also like to thank all of you judges for being here today. I would like to thank Corban and the Hoff School of Business for this fabulous opportunity, and our community mentor who could not make it here today, but we couldn't be here without her. And could we get a big round of applause for the guys in the back who've done all the sound and all the PowerPoint and such. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite my team up with me, and we are open for questions.
Okay, Bruce, and then okay, and then okay.
Did you look into the legal liability of producing a commercial product in a domestic kitchen?
It won't be as much of a commercial product until later in phase 3, which at that time she'll get a commercial kitchens license and get the requirements for that. But currently, as she's just going to be selling at the farmers and Saturday markets at a low volume, then she'll be able to use her domestic kitchens license. She's already in contact with people in the Department of Agriculture and is in the process of getting approved. She just has to get safety checked.
I commend you guys for your product idea with so many farmers starting to grow hazelnuts these days. And as you pointed out, Oregon producing 99% of the nation's hazelnuts. It sounds like your marketing plan suggests that your sales are going to take place locally. Have you given thought to internet sales or mail orders where you could reach out to a broader audience?
Yes, I focused mostly in the presentation just talking about the farmers markets and Saturday markets, but in the full business plan, there is a website that you're going to be able to reach a wider client base, and be able to order and do things like that.
Great.
I just wanted to add something, and we looked into it, but mainly because it's such a startup business, we wanted to be able to set the demand and the target market within a limited spectrum and then branch out once we find out the demand for the product into internet sales and more. So.
How does the supporting the Young Life play into it?
So she wants the business, like Joey said at the beginning, the financials to her are second, and so Young Life we thought was a good way to start with the Reaching Out program and helping another cause beside her own with Tukwila Treats. There was a couple options that we thought about reaching out, helping like a cause like this, and with her connections with Young Life, helping students that are part of it, and giving them opportunities in business and stuff like that, and just growing their knowledge and running a small business like this and giving them that opportunity. So we saw that connection there.
Brock?
Great presentation. I think we can all agree that the real winner today is suit shops in Salem, because everybody's coming here with a new suit today. So good job, Salem. Okay, so I'm a health conscious person, and I want to punch myself in the face just hearing that. But does that factor into anything at all? Because I know that these nuts really do have a lot of healthy fats in them for people. Have you thought about partnering with any type of health organizations?
We haven't really thought too much about partnering with health organizations, but that is a good idea. But being this area that we're in right now of Oregon and then trying to get into the Portland area, that is a big area where people are more concerned about eating healthy. You have the hipsters who are a little nuts about eating healthy, no pun intended with nuts there. But I think that the benefit of the nut would be good there, and it does have the heart benefits and all of that, and looking more into that would be a great idea.
Yeah, hipsters will call them filberts too, so. Okay, my last question is, it looks like you guys really want to ramp up through your local markets, your Saturday markets, farmers markets. Can you name a product that has ramped up at the started at the farmers market and ramped up to $500,000 in a year?
Dave's Killer Bread.
They did. Oh, did you guys go off of their model, or?
So we didn't use their exact model, but that's the company we actually got the idea, like the farmers market. We talked about it a little bit, but then we looked at their success, and thought that's a great idea, so looked into it more and saw if we do this correctly, there can be a major benefit here in reaching especially the target audience, with Portland and Salem being into kind of what you guys just touched base on. It was a good idea.
Jonathan?
Yeah, and I could have missed it because it's towards the end of the day, but when I was looking at your financials, you had a lot in regards to employee costs, gas costs, travel costs. Where were the production costs, and what are the production costs for this process?
To make one 8-ounce bag of dark chocolate would cost between $2 and $3, and those were built into cost of goods sold. What was the rest? What was the rest of your question, sir?
That was it. Just what were the production costs, and did you calculate those in?
Oh,
the
yes,
process?
yes.
Rick?
Okay, I'm hip. But I have just a couple quick questions. On phase, you want to do the Saturday markets. I totally understand that. You threw out a couple of retails locations. Trader Joe's is one. Didn't hear Made in Oregon. They've got like 9 stores. And also, because I'm so hip, I stay in hotels periodically, like every week. And having something like this we do a lot of bed and breakfast locations in Newburgh and everything, doing something like that and having it available for the proprietor of the said hotels for their guests might be a way to go. I'm just thinking, but the product is phenomenal, it really is, and I'm going to get a suit like that soon, I no doubt.
It's definitely a great
one,
suit.
yeah. The red one, yeah.
Yeah, the red one.
Yeah.
The maroon.
Anything to match the tie, huh?
I just wanted to comment on that. In our paper, we did add in Made in Oregon, Trader Joe's. We had also Whole Foods. So that also goes into the health food market. However, we just thought that as chain retailers, we wanted to be careful and first go into the local retailers and kind of see where Tukwila Treats goes from there.
Hey there, you guys did a great job, especially with your visual technical issues. I know that always trips me up when I'm presenting. I could have missed this, but when you get into phase 3, you get pretty high on volume if you want to get up to that revenue stream. Do you need to partner with other farms? Do you need to have more product? It seems like you would have to have that pretty quick.
As Thompson Farms is a sole supplier, because Tukwila Treats was based off of this farm, we want to work with them as much as possible. And so they're preparing for that expansion. They're preparing for Tukwila Treats to be successful, and they want them to do very well. And so they're preparing for that. However, if they're unable to do so for any reason, whether it's a natural issue or not, we offer the supplementary supplier of the Oregon Hazelnut Association, as Thompson Farms is already currently partnered with them and working with them, so that already provides an avenue where they'd still be receiving the same quality of hazelnut.
Do you think that Thompson or Tukwila will need to include that in terms of expenses, or how will that impact the bottom line, that kind of an expansion?
I think they should when they get to around phase 2. However, we really believe in this product. However, as there are so many other hazelnut products out there, online, in farmers markets, and things like that, it's such a wanted product that we want to make sure that they have that demand, so that they're spending all this money for expenses and to buy equipment and to expand, and then be able to say, yes, we can do this, and then move into phase 3. So in phase 2, they'll kind of be reconsidering their financials, reconsidering everything, even their processes. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Norma.
Just a small comment, but when I heard Young Life, I thought you were going with the whole model of like fundraising, sort of like Seas Candy type of thing, but that was just me thinking.
Okay, well, one more. Here we go. Rick?
You discussed Young Life and the impact. For my own clarification, are we talking about the folks, the students in Young Life helping in production, helping in sales, or Young Life doing this as their yearly fundraiser? Because I've bought a lot of hanging baskets for Young Life here in Salem as a fundraiser. This might be a different avenue or an addition to. Can you expound on that?
So there was multiple options. We thought of it as just, you could do it as a helping the members, the kids that go to Young Life in that sense, and just helping with whatever our client, would like to teach them or have them help her with or whatnot. Or it could be, selling their product, kind of like a Girl Scout thing, like make them and then they sell them through them or something like that. So there's multiple avenues, but with the connection that our client has with them, we saw it as a good option you could do, yeah.
And just a little plug in there, we kind of wanted to follow the model of Lemonade Day, where they're teaching them business principles and business strategies and things like that from a younger age. So they would probably in the beginning mainly focus on being at the booths and helping in that respect and see that end. And as production increases, they might help in the production process and kind of get to see the behind the scenes of how it's made and the packaging and be involved in that particularly.
All righty. Thank you, Tukwila Treats.